Joshua Bell.
Joshua Bell.
Joshua Bell.
Joshua Bell.
Joshua Bell.
Joshua Bell.
Joshua Bell. Joshua Bell.
World famous Grammy-winning
The greatest violinist in the world.
One of the greatest musicians on the planet.
You're nominated and you're performing tonight.
Several Grammys, an Oscar.
Joshua Bell is on top of the Billboard charts.
Academy of St. Martin in the Fields announces Joshua Bell as music director.
A musician who's won the hearts of teens all over the world.
Son of a therapist and a psychologist, Joshua Bell was born in Indiana in the United States.
My parents were not expecting me, did not push me to, you have to be a star, They just my parents wanted me to have music in my life because they have music in their life and they love music.
At the precocious age of 17, he made his Carnegie Hall debut and went on to command the world stage, playing with top-level orchestras and conductors.
I never did an international violin competition because my career started without it, so I was happy to avoid.
Nor did he confine his repertoire to the classics, but enjoyed exploring uncharted territory for the violin.
See, Joshua Bell, he plays computer games.
Yeah.
He plays everything, and he's still an established artist now.
I'm still trying to find balance with family, with work, with play. I think we all have to find this balance.
He even gave an impromptu recital in a Washington, D.C. metro station experiment. And body doubled in the film Red Violin. Meet Joshua Bell on Icon, CCTV News.
Welcome, Joshua. Welcome to Icon, and thank you for coming to the studio directly, right away from the airport.
From the airport. This is my life.
Absolutely.
But thank you for having me. Yeah, and then tomorrow in Shanghai, and then Hong Kong the next day. So every day a different city. But I'm happy to be in Beijing because...
So Shenzhen, followed by Beijing, and then Shanghai, and then Hong Kong, back to the United States.
And then after the concert, direct to the airport because I'm flying to Cuba.
What a life!
It's a crazy, crazy month.
What a life!
But I love it. So I really don't want to complain because I have the best job.
I mean, if I travel a lot and then if I move from one city to another, probably in the morning when I wake up, I'm going to think, hey, where am I? Yeah. Do you get that too?
I often get that when I wake up. It takes me a moment to figure out where I am.
What about in the concert hall? I mean, in the concert hall, when you face the audience, I mean, is it just an audience to you or different audiences?
Well, really, when I'm playing music, I go into another place anyway. So I'm not thinking so much about location. If I'm playing a Beethoven concerto, Beethoven takes us to another place. So during the playing, I'm not really aware of where I am. After I play and they start to clap, then I notice the audience and location.
Talking about their possible path to stardom or to success in the future. I mean, the traditional way of understanding would be, they start early, like 4 or 5 years old. You started 4 yourself or 5 yourself, and then they would keep practicing very hard, and then they have in their mind very early, they want it to be Joshua Bell in the future or Lang Lang in the future. But it seems your story is kind of different. You never planned to be a professional classical musician yourself?
No, my life took its shape, but I did not plan it. My parents did not expect me to be a musician, professional musician. And I want to stop you since you talk about stardom. You know, being a musician is not about stardom. It's nice if it happens and you have recognition, but there are many ways to be a musician and a successful musician without being a superstar. You know, like Lang Lang. It doesn't have to be, and my parents were not expecting me, did not push me to, you know, you have to be a star, you know. They just my parents wanted me to have music in my life because they have music in their life and they love music. My mother plays the piano, amateur pianist. My father had a violin. So they believe in music.
Is it true, so your music career all started with your rubber bands that you played, you plugging?
Yes.
You tried to plug out music out of all these rubber bands?
Yes, I used to collect these elastic, you know, rubber bands and put them on my dresser drawers. I had a little 9 dresser drawers as a child, you know, little drawers, and I would open the drawers to make different pitches of the rubber bands.
How old were you at the time?
I was probably 3 or 4, you know, whatever.
You could tell the difference.
I invented my own little instrument.
Wow.
And my parents saw me doing this, and they thought, okay, we get him a violin soon. So they gave me a violin when I was 4.
When did you actually become more serious about classical music?
And actually, for the parents, making sure you find a teacher, good teacher for your child.
Mr. Jingle?
Mine was Mr. Gingold, who was like a grandfather figure for me. I was 12 and he was 70 years old when I went to him, and he was a legend teacher, and it was him that took me to the next level. So I was 12 years old and enjoying music, loving music, but not knowing where I would go. And then after 1 year with him, I said, this is my life. It was inevitable at that point because he loved music so much, and I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be in that world.
Stories go like that, because when you were introduced to Mr. Gingold, and your parents say they were making sure to Mr. Gingold that you just, you know, they wanted you to live once again, normal life, and that's one of the very reasons why he took you as a student.
Yes, you're absolutely right, because he had a bad experience before me with a child prodigy and parents that were very pushy, and when the child did not win the international competition, they blamed him. They said, why did my child not win? And he said, never again, no more children. I don't want to deal with this again.
No prodigies anymore.
Never. And then I came along and he met my parents and they said, please teach him. And he agreed, and then he became part of our family. He was like my grandfather.
Bell came under the tutelage of well-renowned violinist Joseph Gingold. Bell's parents chose Gingold not out of hunger to reach success, but simply to entrust their son's abilities to the most suitable mentor. By age 12, Bell was serious about the instrument, thanks in large part to Gingold's inspiration. A bright student, Bell took to the instrument, but lived an otherwise normal Midwest Indiana life, playing video games and excelling at sports, mainly tennis and bowling, even reaching a national tennis tournament at the age of 10.
Do you still play computer games a lot these days now?
Yeah, you know, I play actually, yeah, now my latest on the phone, I'm addicted to Scrabble game on my phone. I have to erase it from my phone because that's on the airplane, that's all I'm doing. And I still occasionally play, and I have hobbies. I love American football. Not to play, but to watch. I'm
basketball.
Basketball, I play a little
bit. Baseball?
Not as much, but tennis, I play a
Tennis.
bit. Golf, I went through a phase playing a lot of golf, and now I'm trying to quit because it takes too much time.
When did you practice your
Exactly,
violin?
I know. So I'm trying to not to do golf anymore. But ping pong.
You do play ping pong, not just for TV.
Not just. Yes, we did for a TV show in the States. We had a scene with Lang Lang playing.
You played ping pong with Lang Lang. We have Lang Lang.
I've played ping pong with Lang Lang. I've also played violin with Lang Lang. This is more important.
His violin or his
No,
piano?
My violin, his piano.
Right.
This is more important than the ping pong, but yes, we played ping pong as well, and he's great. Ping
Who
pong.
won?
I can't say.
Come on.
If I lost, I would say, but
Right.
But,
Okay.
but I
Got
can't
it.
say.
Got it. Got it. I'm gonna ask
No,
Lang Lang next time myself. Right.
Actually, we did not. We didn't play a proper game.
Yeah,
So it was
yeah,
just it.
yeah.
But ping pong is the one thing that at summer camp when I was 11 and 12, that was the one sport they allowed us to play was ping pong because it's safe for the hands.
I guess, younger musician lovers, all these learners, they're going to love your stories. Say, see, Joshua Bell, he plays computer games.
yeah.
He plays everything, and he's still, he's still an established artist now.
Well,
So what is most important in this, making you who you are today?
just everything is about balance, finding a good balance in life. I'm still trying to find balance with family, with work, with play. I think we all have to find this balance.
Is it why you didn't really take many competitions yourself?
I never. After that, I did when I was younger some small competitions, and
you had a basketball
But,
competition, right?
and video game. I once won a video game competition, but that's
Right.
another story.
Yeah.
But I never did an international violin competition because my career started without it, so I was happy to avoid.
When you were 14?
Yes, I was 14. My first
with Philadelphia.
Yeah, that was my professional debut. I was 14 with the Philadelphia Orchestra and Riccardo Muti, the great maestro, and this was the beginning of my career. And then from that, I got a record contract with Decca Records, and it's just sort of, but it was not overnight. With the competitions, you can win a competition and suddenly you have from 0 to 100 concerts immediately, and it's just so much pressure. For me, it was just my first year of maybe 10, 15 concerts, and then a little bit more, and I kind of grew into my career, which was I think a healthier way. When I was 14, I played with small orchestras. Not only I had a wonderful opportunity with Philadelphia Orchestra, but it wasn't the next year. I wasn't playing New York, L.A., Chicago orchestras. I was playing with the Springfield Symphony in Illinois, and this was getting my building up experience, and it's also, I think it's important to do that. Some young artists, their parents who are pushing them, they will say, don't accept, the small orchestra. You deserve to be with the best, only the best, and this is actually a lot of pressure and not the way to really build your repertoire and your experience. You learn a lot from playing with,
to be able to perform together with the Philadelphia, with, at the age of 17, you performed at the Carnegie Center. All these milestone events, to many musicians, it's like, okay, this is like, the time, this is the place. How did you feel at the time?
Well, these were great moments for me. My debut at 14, Carnegie Hall was a legendary place in New York. For me, I grew up hearing about Carnegie Hall as the sort of the holy grail. So when I stepped on the stage at 17, it was absolutely a special experience. I felt like I I
Goosebumps.
had, yeah, goosebumps. I felt that I had achieved something, a milestone, as you say, so yeah, and I enjoy those moments. But as a musician, you're always. I think the way I think of myself now as a musician is that I'm a student always. You know, you're always learning, always looking what next to learn, how to improve. You never feel like you arrived somewhere. It's a journey. You know, it sounds a bit cliche maybe, but it's absolutely true that it's a process that continues until it's one of the few professions that you can actually get better in many ways. Even after you're 80 years old, you can feel you're getting better at something, which is because you can find deeper understanding of the art.
Well, you've played on different occasions. You've played all these, different venues around the world, and you've also played for our president.
I have.
Where was that?
I've played for several U.S. presidents, and I even got to play one time for your president, who was at the time vice president, and it was at the home of Vice President Biden, our vice president.
Yes.
He was entertaining your vice president,
yes,
who's now president, and they asked me to come play. I had just done a film score. I played on the film score for a Chinese film called Flowers of War.
Yes.
And they thought Chigang, the composer, they thought, why not ask me to come play? So I had a very small party. I think 6 people was your president, our vice president, and Hillary Clinton was there as well.
All right.
So, Secretary of State at the time, and so she may be our next president. I don't know. So it was an interesting. So I was very honored to meet him. He may not remember meeting me, but I remember it was very. Made me very, very happy that I got to meet him.
Yeah, but what is it like to you? I mean, playing for all these important people.
You know, again, I told you when I play, I don't think about who's
it's
listening.
All about music.
So actually, it doesn't matter who. I get into my own thing, and it doesn't. And sometimes the people that make you most nervous are not the ones you would expect. You know, sometimes it's just having my mother listening to me because she knows when I play well and when I don't. Having her in the audience makes me more nervous than playing for President Obama.
Yeah, it's always difficult actually to play for the family.
Yeah, exactly.
We see this magnificent violin over here. This is the one that you purchased. It's a Stradivarius.
Stradivari from 1713. Yeah.
This is your music mate now.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, this is my partner in crime, in music, and we spend many hours a day together, and we have ups and downs, and just it's like a relationship, you know. It's a very special one to find the right partner in an instrument, and so I love this instrument. It's a work of art as well. It could be in a museum next to Picasso paintings, you know, but unlike a Picasso, in a museum, you see it and you can appreciate it there. This violin, the only way to display this violin really is to play it, and so that's what I do.
Yeah, how long has it been with you?
I've had this since 2001, the summer of 2001. I found it in London, and I had another Stradivari then, which was also very good.
That's the one.
The one in that picture right there, from 1732. Yeah, and very good one. But each has a different personality, and I tried this one in London. The same night I was performing at the Royal Albert Hall in London, 8,000 people, a special concert, and 5 hours before that concert, I tried this and I fell in love, and I said, I'm playing on this tonight. I played on the same day, which is for any violinist who they think it's crazy because you need to know a violin very well. Each one is so different. But I was so in love, I said, I got to play. I don't want to play on my old violin anymore. And that's it wasn't a decision to buy it. I said I had to have it, and so I found a way to.
You have it. You own it.
And now I own it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But how important is it? I mean, for a violinist, because I'm not one, so I sometimes don't understand it.
Yeah.
And sometimes they say this is 15 million violin, and this is like a 4 million violin.
Yeah.
How important is it to a musician?
Well, the dollar value doesn't always correspond to the greatness. Often that has to do with the condition and many other things. But a great violin, it's very subtle, the differences, and in fact, if for some people would maybe a beginner or a student might pick up this violin and say I don't understand it, it's not making the sounds I want, and they might pick up a modern cheaper violin and say, oh, this feels much better. But it's the same with golf. I mentioned golf. It's golf clubs. If I picked up Tiger Woods' golf clubs, I would not be able to hit it anywhere. Because professionals use golf clubs that are very sensitive, and if you know how to use it, it's fantastic. But we amateur golfers, we like these kind of clubs that are very forgiving, but for a professional, they want something else. And a Stradivarius does not play itself. It's very tricky. But when you know how to use it, the results can be much more refined, more color, more sound colors, more nuance.
So you play violin, you play basketball, baseball, and you are also seen frequently on TV shows a lot.
Well, not so frequently,
not a lot.
but I've experimented. I like, I've done many talk shows. You know, going back to Johnny Carson, who's like was our icon on our U.S. television for many years.
Yeah.
And I've done some film work. I played soundtracks for film, like
the Red
Violin, which actually some of which was filmed here in China. I don't know where it comes from, but I do approach life with a sense of adventure, and also with very consciously knowing that life is short, and that this is my chance to do everything I can and eat the best food and interesting people as possible, and that's how I approach life in that way. And so in that way, you have to be a bit fearless to do that.
Approaching life with adventure, as he puts it, Bell agreed to the Washington Post's invitation for an experiment. In January 2007, at their suggestion, he played as an incognito busker at a DC metro station. But only 7 people out of more than 1,000 commuters stopped to listen, and only one recognized him. For his nearly 45-minute performance, Bell collected $32 from 27 passers-by.
I was asked by the Washington Post, the newspaper, by a journalist. He said he wanted to see if I were to, because I was playing the night before in a big concert venue, and he wanted to know if I played in the subway or the train
same
station.
Person, same violin,
with
same music.
Just same person, but without any fanfare. What would happen? Would people stop, etc.? So I did it again with a sense of adventure.
You got $32 out of it, and people stopped and tipped you, and people were on the rest.
Some did, most didn't. But it's really, I have to say, it's what I expected. So it was not some great surprise. In fact, $32 in 40 minutes is actually not that bad. So people make a big deal about how nobody stopped, but.
Got recognized by one?
The story was not about whether I would be recognized as. It was more about whether people would recognize the music as having being worthwhile to stop.
So once again, I mean, what do you see yourself in the experiment? I mean, basically, is it more? When we read the story, say we would ask questions. Hey. When we go to a concert, when we buy ticket, is it for the concert venue, or is it for like you said, fanfare, or is it for what?
And I think this is not the moral of the story. Is not that we need hype, we need actually music needs music needs something very important, and that's quiet, silence around the music. When I play for an audience who's coughing and talking, it's the same thing. They will not be the same experience for the audience member. If I'm listening in an audience to someone playing and people are talking around me, I will not experience it the same way. In a train station where people, you're not going to experience the music in any profound way. The beautiful thing about a concert hall is that everyone is there for a common experience where they can really concentrate. And classical music needs the brain of the listener very active. It's not like...
It's not a one-way traffic.
Yeah, it's not like, going to a club where the music is, all this stuff where it's like, where you're dancing. You're not, when you're in that kind of music, you're not really doing a lot of processing brain power to listen to that music. You're just feeling it on a very basic level, which is fine for dancing and drinking and if whatever it is. But that's, for me, this is not music. Great music, great jazz, great country music, great pop music, even great classical music. The way to appreciate it, you need to be a listener, very concentrated, and then the music has a profound effect.
You've won the prizes, you've got your Grammy, you're now traveling around the world, you're now living a lifestyle that you like yourself. What is your next?
Well, there's a lot. The thing about my world of classical music, it's endless. There's so many things to do, so many pieces I want to learn. I want to compose more. I'm just starting now to do conducting and directing. I'm now the music director of an orchestra in London called the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields, which is a great, famous orchestra who did the soundtrack for Amadeus, among other things, the film. So this is taking me into a whole other area of repertoire and adventure in music. So I would like to do more composing, but it's difficult to have time for that because I'm playing 150 concerts every year. So I'm now trying to figure out to take 6 months a sabbatical to have some time off so I can start thinking about some other things.
So still have a lot to expect for the future. So once again, thank you, Joshua, for coming to the studio.